Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's Early Morning Intuitive Guidance this fine Thanksgiving week. Hope you're all off to a good start. As I'm looking out the window, I can see that it is foggy out. Misty, moisty, foggy. So, yeah, those of you who are driving, go slowly, be cautious, and we'll get this day underway. So we have a card today from the Light Seers deck, Good Morning Abigail, by Chris Ann, which we haven't had in a while. And interesting card. As I started reading it, I was realizing I had some visceral reaction to it. And that's good, because then it gives me the opportunity to look at, okay, what's this reaction about? And do some internal tweaking. So we'll give it a minute for people to jump on. Looks like someone else just did. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. Welcome. We'll do a little breathing to bring ourselves into right here and right now, and a little tapping to kind of ground to Mother Nature and be fully present for this card, because it's some interesting things to think about. So you can pick your spot to tap. I usually like the collarbone point. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome. Glad you are here. My little counter still says 2, even though that's 4 hellos so far. Yeah, it's that new math. Okay, so some breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Driving your roots into Mother Earth, grounding, centering. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and one more for good measure. Hold at the top. Good morning, Carolyn. In through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. To right here, right now. So again, Light Seers deck by Chris Ann, and my poor eyes said, oh boy, a pocket deck. Let's see how well we can read this. And when I first saw the image, I thought, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that one's about. So there we all are. Everyone kind of climbing on their own. So let's see what it says. 5 of Wands. For those of you who have the deck, this is page 74 in the book. Let's take a breath. And it came out in this direction, but I'll read this part also in case some of that chimes for you. So the Light Seer part: competition, conflict, ambition, challenge, being pushed by others to excel, brainstorming, mental jousting, adrenaline and aggression, surpassing limits, dynamic energy, leveling up. The Shadow Seer side, so if the card had come out in this direction, which it did not, but if it had, Shadow Seer side, an opportunity to collaborate, in-group fighting or arguments, being overly competitive, not following the rules, a tendency to avoid conflict to your detriment. There are times when engaging in discourse about a disagreement can be useful. So here's the part where it's talking directly to us. A little rivalry can be a good thing. It can push us to become the very best version of ourselves and to move quicker than we would if we were alone. Allow opposition and challenge to help you evolve your methods and to push beyond self-imposed limitations. Out of all of this, that's the line that jumped out at me. That's the line that seems most useful. Let me read it again. Allow opposition and challenge to help you to evolve your methods and to push beyond self-imposed limitations. So sometimes, recently I did this with a client who made a statement, just a very matter-of-fact statement. Well, obviously I can't blah, blah, blah. And my challenge was, why can't you? And it just knocked that whole framework out from underneath her, and she had to think about that. Yeah, why can't I? Because that's what I've always told myself, is I can't. So sometimes a gentle challenge can be of use. If competition becomes unhealthy and you are experiencing the shadow side of conflict or ambition, it's time to take a step back and retreat from energies that are hindering your progress. Sometimes the need to be right or personal feelings around being questioned or challenged can interfere with the ability to see your path clearly. So you may need to fly solo for a bit in order to reevaluate your options. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. Welcome. I think it's sometimes a reactive response to people challenging our thoughts. Maybe that person is simply challenging it to get you to think it through a little more deeply. But we get our feathers in a knot about it and either abandon the idea altogether or get huffy or whatever. But take a look at that. When someone challenges you on something, even if they are doing it in a baiting way, can you use that energy to bolster your position? While clashing egos can slow everything down, they can also propel success. Think about football teams. Sometimes there are members of a team who are very competitive players with each other, and that does push everyone. Good morning, Noel. Glad you're here. It does push everyone on the team to do better. So the key is watching for when does it tip into more of an unhealthy way of interacting. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, Mel. Glad you guys are here. So we have a lot of people here on this one, which I think is interesting because I think we do need some adjustments to this kind of thing. There's far too much competition going on right now. That's a win-lose prospect. We're not allowing for, maybe there's multiple wins here. Maybe there's multiple wins. Let's see what else it has to say. Choose to excel. Look for healthy competition or collaboration. How about healthy competition and collaboration? This doesn't need to be an or. It can be an and. Kindly, gently nudging people on and working with people for everyone's higher good. Look for healthy competition and collaboration that inspires and motivates you. Learn from others and use competing energies as a way to enrich your experience. The affirmation, if one of you or more than one of you want to put it in the feed, would be fabulous. I support others and they support me. And we rise together in accelerated harmony. It even rhymes. Oof. I support others and they support me. And we rise together in accelerated harmony. Now, I'm going to talk about this, and one of you has heard quite a bit of this recently because you've recently joined my Mary Kay team. This is one of the things that Mary Kay the business and Mary Kay the phenomenon excels at, is supportive cooperation, collaboration, competition. It can be we're two people on a team are striving for the same goal. Let's get to our free car. Let's get to directorship. Let's get to walk across the stage in Dallas, whatever it is. And one person's success does not diminish the other person's success at all. At all. When we come from that place, I'm going to say it again, of scarcity, there can only be one winner and everybody else is a loser, you're setting the whole thing up to be that unhealthy cooperation or competition. When you say, as the tide rises, all ships rise, as I make things better for myself and others, others make things better for me, everyone's lifted. Everyone's lifted. Much better perspective to come from. And the howl of protest that I always get when I'm talking about this is, yeah, but not everybody's playing by those rules. There are those who are playing by the one winner and everybody else is a loser rules. Okay, yes, there can be people who are doing that, but take a look at what happens in the long run. That can be a very divisive, a very lonely, a very unproductive way to go about this stuff, as opposed to the I'll help you, you help me, we'll all rise kind of approach. And in there too, there was the one line, I can't remember exactly where it was, toward the end, I think. But the basic gist being that it isn't an either or prospect. It isn't going to be one or the other. Look for the multiple. Thank you, Gwen. I appreciate it. And thank you, Abigail. I appreciate it. Look for the multiple wins. They're there. They are absolutely there. But we have to be willing to acknowledge that they exist in order to put that energy into action. So, I want you to think about something you would like to accomplish right now. And I want you to think about how you've been going about attempting to accomplish whatever it is. What would be the ways to bring others on board and to assist them with what they want to accomplish? It might be a goaltending club. It might be we touch base once a week. How are we doing on moving up? Let me cheerlead you and you cheerlead me. Kind of getting the running buddy idea. Expanding your options. What are the myriad ways that I can make this thing happen? And how do I involve others in this process? Just working at shifting your perspective, that it doesn't have to be this dog eat dog world. That's such a gross saying. But anyway, kind of coming at it from the Jim Rohn perspective, which was, if you want to help other people, if you want to get what you want, help other people get what they want. You're building capital with people that at some point you then can say, can you help me with this? I really could use a hand on this. And they feel positively about you because you've been helpful to them as well. So that is our card for today. I'll show you the picture again. So look at this picture. What if one of these folks actually leaned down and gave this guy a helping hand? Would not that be useful down the road? Wouldn't that be helpful? Instead of clamoring, clawing, maybe stomping on his fingers, who knows? That is when it turns into that, let me think of the word, the toxic competition. You know, if you're willing to sacrifice those who are competing with you, where's the sportsmanship in that? So, think of something. If you come up with an idea, where you want to ask for the help for your particular idea, put it in the feed and let's see what we can do. We all know lots of folks. We can probably be of assistance to each other. The other day I posted on my personal page an article on a pocket neighborhood kind of a thing. And I wrote on the top, I so want to do this. Who wants to be my running buddy? Just throwing it out there into the universe. To me, it felt like putting the message in the bottle and throwing it into the ocean. We'll see if the social media ocean coughs up someone who says, yeah, I'd like to do that with you. We'll see. So, have an awesome Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember that you're capable of far more than you think you are, including collaboration and healthy, friendly competition. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.